Well, this has been a blast. I'm so grateful that you were able to come on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for having it. It's so much fun.
Yeah, if you ever find any more embarrassing poems from your past.
Oh, bestie, I have all of the files
Oh, good.
from that time as
Yeah.
well.
Rhyme or free, it doesn't matter to me. It's my bad poetry. Good day, and welcome to My Bad Poetry, a podcast where we take a deep dive into our poems from youth, yesteryear, or even yesterday, always asking the question, why in the world did I write this? I'm Aaron.
And I'm Dave.
And today we have with us a nominee for multiple Pushcart and Best of the Net awards, a Maya Angelou Book Awards recipient for her debut full-length poetry collection, I Done Clicked My Heel 3 Times, an editor, an essayist, and a doctor of creative writing and literature through the University of Cincinnati, Taylor Byas. Welcome to My Bad Poetry.
Thank you so much for having me.
It is an honor to have you on the show.
Yeah.
This collection is phenomenal.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, should we talk about the relevancy of Chicago today?
You know, that might take up the whole hour, but
Yeah, that's true. So you're in Cincinnati right now?
I am, yes.
Nice.
So sorry. Really rough. That's okay.
You know, I mean, I think in a similar way as Chicago, it's like the okay dot in the state that's like maybe a little chaotic outside, but
Fair enough. Very fair.
Yes,
So,
growing
we're
up in
making
Ohio, I know exactly what you're talking about.
making it work.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else that we might have missed in this very brief intro of yours that you want to lift up?
I mean, only that, I'm gearing up for my second book to come out in August. It actually goes to print today, so that's
Wow.
kind of nerve-wracking.
Nice.
We're like, it was a mad dash to get all of our permissions in beforehand. But yeah, it goes to print today and it comes out in August and it is affectionately titled Resting Bitch Face. And I'm really
Love it.
excited about how many times I'm going to get to say that the next year or so after it comes out.
Nice.
That's awesome. Is it available for pre-order right now or?
It is. It is available for pre-order, yes.
Wow, good. And who's that through?
Soft Skull Press, the same press that did the first book, yes.
Great. Well, that's exciting. This first one was kind of an ode to Chicago and the memories, the formative memories there. What would you say kind of is the connecting piece for Resting Bitch Face?
Yeah, that book it's very much about the sort of constant surveillance that, women experience. Maybe we can talk about marginalized bodies in general, but there's a heavy focus on just kind of the constant surveillance of women. And it thinks about that heavily through the lens of art and photography and film, but art is probably sort of the biggest one. So it's just a very different book. I Didn't Click My Heels 3 Times was very like formal in the traditional sense. Like there's like 3 sonnet crowns in there, which, what was I doing?
They're impressive.
And
I mean,
impressive, but I was also insane writing them. And then, Resting Bitch Face, it's more prose poems. There's still formal poems in there. There's still sonnets. There's still, traditional forms there, but it's much more heavily a prose poem collection. And it's a feisty collection. I like to say that she's a feistier book than the first book, which is also exciting.
Nice.
well, as much as it would be a joy to talk about your good poetry, we brought you here to talk about maybe some of those less than stellar works. So, Dave, how about you bring us into the realm of bad poetry with whatever you have hastily written for today?
Okay. This is a poem called Empathy. To suffer or experience alongside, to journey with others for the ride, to know who you are through the other eyes, to experience the fear of othering lies, to bless with companionship through trial, to shield someone from hurling vitriol and bile, to link arm in arm, shoulder to shoulder, to walk through not your fire and grow bolder, to be weakened by understanding, to be strengthened by together standing.
Hey,
There's no joke at the end of
there's
it,
no
Aaron.
joke at the end. Dave, you're growing.
That is not true. I did. So I have a subtitle for this, and it is Baby's First Protest Poem.
Ah,
Because it is like, this is the bare minimum of understanding empathy and being a decent human person. And it's like, just, I, I'm growing as a person, but not really. I hope I'm doing better.
baby steps.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You had a fun rhyme in there. What did you rhyme with? Bile?
Oh, trial.
Trial. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was more fun than that.
No, I'm not creative or good at this, Aaron.
I mean, working bile in there at all was that did it for me. It's like, oh
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I can see. I got it. Yeah.
Well, Taylor, you are a doctor of creative writing.
Mm.
Any pointers or anything you want to give to Dave and
Fix
his
my writing is what Aaron is saying. Make
his,
it be like good.
baby protest poem?
Right. No, what I heard a lot of rhyming, which is what we were just kind of talking about. And I talk about rhymes a lot because I talk about sonnets a lot. And so I say in poems where there are rhymes in expected places that you should like play with sound and rhyme in other places because it draws the reader's attention away from the places where they expect it. So that will be I guess, my little teacher note for the day.
I love that actually. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's great. I just love the fact that last week's poem was watching people fall downstairs or something. Just watching
No.
people fall.
Watching people fall over.
Okay, and you ended
Yeah.
it with Schadenfreude. So
Yep.
it feels like this is an odd pairing of Schadenfreude and empathy.
I think they're the same emotion. It's recognizing the pain of someone else or laughing at the pain of someone else. Those are the same thing, right?
Either way, you are perceiving another's pain. Okay.
Yeah.
Two sides of a coin.
One is how to do it decently, and one is how to do it as a jackass.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, Taylor, you have given us. Now, I should ask: Are these all three of them? Are you considering all three of them bad, or is one of them listed here as the one you want to end with?
These are all old bad
Okay,
poems,
good.
to me.
How we run this is you give us a clean read, no context, and then we dive in.
All right. What you wanted. My lipstick kiss remains. The golden wheel of mother's teacup sports my cracked half moon, the way my stomach grabs and maps the seal of bearing sons. I stir in cream. My spoon divorces curls and cockled jowls that droop from extra pounds. My own reflection flings into a spinning cycle, visage looped around the broken trails of sugar rings. Instead, I see the weight, the hands you squared away, are little boys who served to filter your loathing towards widened hips. I bared my chartered skin, hoped you'd find a familiar turnoff or shoulder bending out. The burn of tea on tongue stings less than parts of me unlearned.
Taylor, please enlighten us. What makes this bad?
So to me, so for context, this comes from maybe 8 years ago now. Jesus, like these are really, really old poems. And so this is a sonnet. These are like my earliest attempts at figuring out what formal poetry is. And so as someone who like is very much a formal poem lover and I'm writing sonnets all the time, to me, I look at this and I'm like cringing on the inside because it feels like just a much younger version of me sort of grappling with the form. There are so many choices that I just would not make now. Like I can see that younger version of me like counting the syllables. Like I can see it happening as I'm reading. Like there are certain areas where I'm like, I know I use that just for the syllable count. Like I wouldn't use that today.
Right.
And I think over time I just learned to I just learned how to sort of incorporate more like natural everyday language into a sonnet and make it work. And I feel like my earlier forays were me like using this like very odd language to kind of like make the syllable count and make the rhyme work, whereas I wouldn't do that today. And so formally, I think it's, still a sound poem, but like there's just it, oh, I shiver. I shiver internally.
So it doesn't feel like your voice. It feels
Mhm.
more like a parody of what you felt like poetry should sound.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I was in undergrad, I was actually a fiction major.
Oh.
And it wasn't until the end of undergrad that I took an ekphrastic poetry class that I like officially switched over to poetry for my master's and then focused on it in my PhD. So I was also like, I think I had written poems before, obviously, but I think I was also just like finding my footing in
Mm.
poems. Like I still like here I didn't have a voice developed yet. Like I had not yet found my voice in poetry yet. And that also is painfully obvious to me when I'm looking back at these poems. Like I didn't know who I was as a poet yet.
Mm.
One of the images that pops out to me that I'm wondering if you would ever use this image in your current writing is cockled jowls.
No,
Yeah. It's just
no, get her out of there.
Yeah.
it sounds very much like a British nursery rhyme. It's,
I get
Exactly.
that.
It pops out to me. That pops out to me. What else pops out to me? My charted skin, which isn't as bad, but like that's another one that kind of pops out. But yeah, Cockle Giles, I hate her. I hate her so much.
now remind me, for the syllable count, as you're
Mhm.
working through this, what is the kind of objective or goal within a sonnet? What's the breakdown?
Yeah, so for the sonnet, you're typically shooting for iambic pentameter. So that's like a 10 syllable line made up of five iambs, which is unstressed, stressed. So that pattern basically unstressed, stress, unstressed, stress, unstressed, stress. Sometimes you can sort of break it and make substitutions, but that's sort of typically what you're going for. So that first line, my lipstick kiss remains the golden wheel. That's how it's supposed to, sound in your head. So there's a lot going on. You're thinking about the rhyme. You're also thinking about this meter, and which by extension you're thinking about syllables. So like there's a lot going on. And I think as I was trying to learn the rules, then the language like couldn't be as natural. And then as I learned the rules over the years, then it got easier for me to find better, more natural language.
Right. You can kind of internalize the rules so that you can write without counting.
Absolutely.
I'm still at the counting stage. I
Yeah, I
have to sit
totally
there and
count.
clap it out almost.
Yeah,
That's
you gotta do it.
You kind of gave us a bit of a time. This is late college work. Okay.
Yes.
What's kind of the context? What were you hoping to evoke as far as like emotion or scene
Mhm.
within this work?
Yeah, I think here this was like I think around that time I was just writing a lot about abandonment, which hasn't changed. Surprise. The so this poem is about this woman who has had children and is ultimately kind of realizing that her husband has become distant over time and is trying to sort of capture that emotion of realizing or seeing that distance and hoping to close it, but ultimately knowing that it's probably unlikely that has happened. And so, yeah, I think abandonment around that time was a common theme, probably because of relationship things that were probably going on around that time as well. So I think that sort of came out in this form.
hmm.
Hmm.
Good point, Aaron. I agree.
I'm just, I was waiting. Dave, you just looked so engrossed looking at it. I was waiting
No,
for you to.
I just keep going back, like the way my stomach graphs and maps the seal of bearing sons, and then the my charted skin. Like I just you brought up my charted skin as one you don't like, but I like that line. I think it really like it's a metaphorical rhyme that you're
Mhm.
pulling back from the first stanza. I think that's really cool.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I like the image. I just think if I were to describe a similar image now,
Mhm.
it would be so different. It would just
Hmm.
be so different. And I also, going back to your question, Aaron, asking about like the emotion or the sort of narrative, I think that's another thing too, that looking back at old poems, old formal poems in particular, is so focused. You're so focused on the rules and the constraints, right? That the like story kind of gets buried, or like, the
Mm.
sort of story that you're trying to tell. And then over time, you kind of get better at that. But I think that's another thing where I look back at these old poems and I'm like, there's so much more I could have said, but I was so busy trying to, trying to work in the rhyme and work in the syllables. And yeah, I think that's just something you naturally get better at. It's like how to get to the point with less language, which is often the point in poetry.
Sure. That I could really see. The first image, the lipstick stain on the teacup,
Yeah.
was I mean, it caught my attention. And then beyond that, I kind of was like, okay, where are we going with this?
Where are we going? Great
Yeah.
question.
And so I think what you're saying is how you try to fit the formula
Mhm.
rather than just get to the kind of the heart of it.
Yeah, the narrative is like secondary to the form. Hmm.
Mm. Well, so this is a very formulaic sonnet that you have given us to start out with.
Yeah.
Let's move to your next one here. In winter, God shows off.
Hmm.
In the winter, God shows off. He tries his hand at architecture. Beams of white re-steel prismatic spires in dust Chicago's shoreline. Scabs of ice encrust backyards and stop signs. He repaints the beam, the mirrored arc downtown, its top half preened in tufted ice, the lower half unbrushed by snowflakes. In its curve, I melt, face slushed in thawing metal, hands in frost convened in fingerprinted glass. In this careened quotation, I think I can catch him, etching plans of cubits in columns, plotting where the snow would bowl through Navy Pier. He draws his transformation in blueprints, calculates the splay of lucid crystals, uncolored flecks roll out in scrolls.
I understand why you don't like that one because it doesn't have any reference of deep dish pizza. I mean, I can't. You're talking Chicago and you got the bean and Navy
Or
Pier,
if,
but not pizza.
but not deep dish.
Ugh.
I mean, now that I like have a whole book about Chicago out,
Yeah.
of which have multiple sonnets about Chicago, I look at those sonnets and then I look at this sonnet and I'm like, night and day.
Yeah, I 100% agree on that one. Yeah, this book of poems on Chicago, what you've brought to us here just pales in comparison.
Mhm.
My favorite part about this poem is the fact that you felt like you had to define the bean
Yeah.
for readers. It's like it really kind of, I don't know, it broke the mood entirely because it was like, you remember that mirrored arc downtown? It kind of
Right.
looks like a bean.
Yeah, it's very much that early instinct where we're like still trying to figure out like how much we want to put into the reader's suitcase before we send them on the journey to the poem, like
Hmm.
how much we want to fill the suitcase. And I think typically earlier on we like give way much more than we need to, because we don't yet fully trust ourselves to like fully render something without having to give these explanations. And that
Right.
100% happens.
Now, I do have a question.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned that your first class on poetry was ekphrastic.
Mhm.
Would you define this one as an ekphrastic? I mean, writing about the bean.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, it is kind of ekphrastic. And I think there's been something within me that has always been attracted to ekphrasis even before that class. And I think taking that class was like what kind of just
Yeah.
blew the doors open for me. So I definitely think you're right. There was something ekphrastic about this sort of intense focus on the being. That careened quotation, like, I want to die. I want to die.
Hmm.
Do you remember when you wrote this? Had you just walked through Millennial Park after snowfall, or what evoked this image for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think maybe I had just been home for winter break or was about to go home for winter break. I was in school in Alabama, in Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh.
So I was actually very far from Chicago. But it was in Birmingham that I started to write a lot of, the poems that are in I didn't click my heels 3 times. I started really writing about Chicago in Birmingham because I finally had the distance that I think that I needed to see it more clearly.
Ah.
And so I think this was just around the time that I had really started to write about Chicago, just in general. And I think architecture comes in because, sonnets to me still felt very much like felt kind of like mathematic and
Yeah.
architectural in a way. This is also another sonnet. It's a different kind of sonnet than the first one. This is a Petrarchan sonnet. The first one is a Shakespearean sonnet. So also again, thinking about form is this sort of thing that felt more like math and less like poetry in the beginning. And I think all of those things just kind of collided into this poem.
The fact you're comparing it to math makes me wonder if that's why the image of cubits and columns
Mm.
come up. I didn't get a sense of there wasn't a lot of cubits and columns in your book.
There were not. There
No.
were not.
Yeah. It felt a lot more personal and reflective. This feels kind of distant, very third person.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm thinking of like speaking of distance, like what a sort of distant Chicago skyline would look like, and it would kind of look like these just squares and
Mm.
grids, far away, if you don't have any sort of personal connection to them, or if you're not up close. And I think that also comes through that distance, which I was also very far away from it when writing about it as well. So yeah.
And I mean, Dave and I, we both live in Minnesota now, so I don't think there's any extra yearning for snow. But I do, I mean, like, I imagine having grown up in Chicago and then being in Birmingham, Alabama, maybe this kind of feels like a bit of an ode to snow or a desire to
Mm.
see snow again.
Yeah, I was definitely missing snow. And then, the few times we did get snow in Birmingham, they just kind of shut the whole city down.
Yeah.
And, you know, um, which like to be fair, we had like a week off of school, so that was great.
That's
But
cool.
I
Nice.
also was just like I was missing, being able to get a lot of snow and for it to be normal and for you to be able to just kind of go outside and enjoy it. Like in Birmingham, we got the snow and then it wasn't even enough snow to enjoy it, and then everything shut down. And so it was just, yeah, maybe also missing Chicago snow as well. Yeah.
Now, the other thing that kind of reading this back, I kind of
Hmm.
forgot that you put this in the perspective of God's work.
Hmm.
Mm.
Maybe because of the focus on the
Hmm.
being and the architecture, that through line of this being God's hands kind of
Hmm.
painting the scene, it was lost to me. I'm wondering, is that something else that you might approach differently if you were to do this again?
Yeah, I don't think I would appear. I don't think the I would appear in this poem at all if I were to
Mm.
rewrite this again. Like
Ah.
I think I think this would be a poem probably from God's perspective. Um, and to have him kind of like actively sort of, rebuilding or repainting the world in sort of snow.
Right.
Yeah, the I would need to be there. I don't know why she's there. So yes, I would definitely do that completely differently if I were to rewrite this poem. Maybe that's an exercise for me is to like try to rewrite these poems. What would they look like now? I don't know.
Yeah.
It'd be fun to see.
Yeah, yeah. I couldn't figure out what distracted me, but I
Hmm.
think you pinged on it right away.
But I think it makes sense to have an outside perspective for someone showing off, right? Like, if God is
Oh.
showing off, who is God showing off for? Like, without an observer, you can't really show off.
It's fair. But
Mm.
yeah, I would if it's there, it's got to take up less space than this.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's got
and
to take up less space, yeah, for sure. And maybe the placement too. It kind of pops in right in the middle, and then it tries to kind of return to him drawing his blueprints at the end, but it's sort of difficult to draw us back there. I think so. Yeah.
yeah. And the I in this isn't necessarily like super impressed. It's like it's like if God is showing off, the eye is not like in utter awe of this. It's like I think I catch him. Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean,
Well, I think it's because we don't have enough description about the scabs of ice encrusting backyards. I feel like
is
the
that image in
scabs need
here?
more time.
The scabs need more airspace.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is
Mhm.
up here. Scabs of ice.
That is a
Huh.
disgusting thing, but I kind of love it for that reason. Because it's like, oh, the beautiful snow that's resting on the bean, and the way that, the wind flows through Navy Pier,
Mhm.
and the scab of ice that grips the stop signs.
The change of
It's
voice, yeah.
lovely.
hmm
Yeah, yeah.
hmm Making a note to myself, more
More
scabs
scabs.
in the future draft.
Oh, so you said that this is a different kind of sonnet.
Mhm.
What was
So this one is a Petrarchan sonnet.
Petrarchan?
And the first one is a Shakespearean sonnet. So you'll see a difference in how the stanzas are set up. So that first
Mm-hmm.
one has the three four-line stanzas and then the couplet at the end.
Hmm.
And this one is an octet and a sestet, an eight-line stanza and a six-line stanza, which then also shifts the rhyme scheme a little bit.
I want to make sure that we have enough time because you've given us a quite a lengthy one here. Well, not too lengthy, but I mean, you've given the bulk of our time should go to double barrier here.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Double Barrier after Elective Affinities by Rene Magritte, 1933. But Magritte's cage has no knob, no door. The large egg, pallid against the backdrop's tarmac, teeters on its rounded bottom. Magritte weighs the value of life on this makeshift scale, the cage hanging from a hook, swaying back and forth. Below me, a boy of 6 or 7 reaches out, daubs beneath Magritte's birdcage with his index finger. His mother gasps, hurries over and tows him away by the ear, his face round and pale like Magritte's cream post-finial. Its shape, a keyhole, glistens like a wobbly crystal doorknob, the delicate ones that littered grandmother's house and creaked. Those knobs, deformed mushrooms in my hand, felt as if they could unlock the unseen. I wonder what creature is plugged inside the shell, what life Magritte cased within the maple brown metal. I wonder if it will hatch, crab through the oval pod, and take its first breath. I see the crack. I want to hear the pressured rift, a beak or a human hand poking through. Then a crack, a thunderous crash as the sky unlocks and rain pounds the museum roof. I turn to see the boy and his mother scurry towards the exit. She wrestles with her umbrella while the boy, still pale, secretly rubs Magritte's oil between his fingers. Least favorite.
I have a lot of questions. First, why did you put the image of a human hand poking through an egg? That is terrifying.
It's so strange. So the painting that this is after, it's literally a painting of this very large egg in a cage. And it's the weirdest, like it's just the strangest thing. And I'm like, what is in an egg that big? Like what's in there?
Okay.
Um, but there's so much happening in this poem. She's all over the place. And I think so. This one actually comes from the agnostic poetry class that I mentioned.
Okay.
And what was so tragic about this is like we had to, if I remember correctly, we had to just like pick an image, or we were just like we had to like randomly pick an image, and then I got this egg, and I was like, "Are you for real right now? Like I have to write a poem about this egg that I just picked, and I didn't, I don't know anything about this egg." And so I think I was also, still trying to figure out all of the ways that you can approach a crisis, right? Like, you can sort of write a story about something in the image, write a persona poem about something or someone in the image, or you sort of interact with the image in the poem, like you're someone in the museum. And I was trying to do like all of them somehow in this poem. And so it's very hard to follow narratively. We have an image that like also is just completely unrelated. Like we go to like grandma's house and we're like, what, where, how, what's happening.
Yeah.
Uh, So yeah, she's very chaotic. She's a chaotic queen.
Now, my next question.
Mhm.
Did you make Marguerite a chicken in this? Like when as I'm reading it, all I can hear is like Marguerite is a chicken who's laid this egg. And yet I
That's
look back and it's the name of the artist who painted this egg.
it is, but honestly, I like him better as a chicken. We're gonna keep that. It's his egg. He made that egg.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, and then we have the boy
Hmm.
and his mother is looking at this painting. Did the boy touch the painting?
He did.
Okay. Okay.
He did touch the painting, unfortunately. Um,
Whether or not it has any bearing on anything.
yeah, we don't know. Like, did that set off the egg hatching? No clue. No idea. We just know he touched it and his mom got mad. Like, that's all we
Fair.
know.
Dave, did you look up this image? I heard you typing over there.
I did.
Okay. Is it a big egg? I'm gonna look it up too.
It's a big egg
Okay.
Like,
in a bird cage.
what are we supposed to do?
Oh. Oh, wow. This is interesting.
It's so interesting.
It's the size of it's the whole bird cage.
It's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
Like, nothing normal can be in there.
No, you're right.
No offense to your professor, but I would have been pissed if this had been assigned to me.
Oh, maybe similar to Aaron's horror at the hand. I was very horrified when I was assigned this
No.
painting because I was like, I don't know what you want me to do with this. But Magritte also the paintings are strange. The
No,
paintings are
that's
strange.
fair.
There's another one that's my favorite, which of course I can't remember right now, but the couple kissing, but they like have a sheet over it. Like they both have individual like sheets over their heads, but then they're like trying to kiss each other through it's a very weird.
Oh, yeah. And then, okay, I see the lovers now. And
Mhm.
then the Son of Man is the apple in front of the face. There are so many other Magritte paintings that might have been maybe more fruitful than.
No pun intended.
Oh, yeah. So this leads to another question that I have about after poems in
Yeah,
general is
yeah.
and we talked a bit about this with Matthew E. Henry a couple weeks ago, but
Mhm.
in your opinion, do you think that after poems the reader needs to have seen the painting?
I don't. And
Okay,
I think that's another reason why this poem fails miserably is because it kind of relies on the reader like knowing what the image is.
100%. Yeah.
And yeah, so I think that's sort of another one of its pitfalls. I think, now I treat ekphrasis as this poem should be able to exist on its own. And if you go look at the thing that it's after, that can only enhance your reading experience, but your reading experience is not it's not reliant on knowing what it is. But I had not learned that yet.
Yeah, I would say that was the question that came to mind when you finished because I was like, I don't know what any of this is about. And the only thing that I wanted to do was look up the painting, not
Mhm,
because it inspired me to, but because I felt like I needed it as a key to
mhm.
understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah, fascinating. So, why did you call it double barrier?
Oh,
It's an
because
eggshell in a cage.
Oh, is that it? Is that why? Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I thought that was obvious. Aaron's bad at
that's
poetry. Aaron's bad at poetry.
It's why I'm the host of this show. Okay.
that's hilarious. Yeah. Yeah. Could have used a much better title. Title does
Well,
nothing for the poem. Title does
No.
not set us up. It does not spotlight anything. It does not turn our heads in any direction. It's just
No,
there.
it doesn't.
well, and inside the egg, there's another barrier. There's the shell, and then there's the Indo shell.
Oh,
So it's a triple barrier. And since it's a painting, there's a barrier
This is
because usually there's
right.
stanchions in front of it. So quadruple
Yeah.
barrier.
And then this is a poem about the painting, so that's another big.
Quintuple barrier. Okay, okay. We're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere.
We're doing the work. We're doing the important work here.
What I've learned about poetry is it's all about a very literal description. That's all that poetry is, right? Just very literal, very on the nose.
Yes.
Very concrete, very, very
Oh,
grounded.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is an ekphrastic. You talked about it coming from that class. The style itself, we have stanzas here. Is it consistent as far as how many to a line? Or how many lines? No.
The first one's like 6, I think, and then the rest are 5.
Yeah.
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 No. There's one more 6.
Oh, yeah.
The second,
Yeah,
the
like
penultimate.
these are like random choices. What are we doing? I don't know.
So did you feel like because you weren't doing a Shakespearean or a Petrarchian sonnet,
Mhm.
you could just do whatever you wanted as you described this giant egg?
I mean, I could, but like also I think I was just like flailing and trying to figure out how the hell to interact with the painting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was just like the assignment kind of got with me. The assignment kind of like took me out a little bit. And, again, like this was something that I was, I was fairly new to doing this in a really intentional way when it came to ekphrasis. So again, like it just being there's a whole bunch of things that are very new to me and that I'm trying to figure out. And also I got stuck with this crazy painting. And, the chaos of all of those things definitely showed. But, we live and we learn
Mhm.
and we grow and we become better poets.
Do you remember at all if you got any feedback from this particular poem or
This was like, I mean, I did well on the assignment, like in general. I
sure?
think I got a B, but like this was like definitely one of my lowest scored poems of the semester, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. Like she deserved she deserved that grade.
I'm trying to figure out because, like you said, this goes all over the place.
Hmm.
Is there a reason why you felt like the boy had to touch the painting?
I think like it was my own kind of curiosity that like comes out in the boy. Like I feel like if I saw that in the museum, I'd be like, what is going on? Like I would probably want to touch this painting. I'm not even gonna lie. I wouldn't do it, but I would think about it. Um, and so I think it was my own curiosity to be like, what in the world is this? I'm thinking as a kid, like I would just be so confounded by this thing and I would like probably want to touch it and figure something out about it, which of course you can't do in the art museum. But yeah, it was my own like strange curiosity about what this artist was thinking and what is happening in this painting.
So perhaps what was inside the egg was your inner child all along.
And that's a better poem than what this is.
No, no, it's not. Don't encourage him.
Like don't
Don't
encourage it. Don't encourage it.
don't help him. We mock here. We mock Aaron. That's the healthy attitude. Ugh.
Oh, I'm so glad that you brought 3 very distinct styles
Yeah.
and the ways in which how you felt like you were being a little too formulaic to what you felt was poetic at the time, and then just this random flailing at the end of I don't know what to do with this.
Use it or die.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Taylor, this has been so fun. We're coming up here on an hour, and so we'll need to wrap this up before we open another cage. Um, I tried. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry,
Dan.
Aaron. For our listeners at home, every time that Aaron speaks, I just kind of shut my eyes and I have this resting face.
On pre-sale now.
Yeah, for pre-order.
So, Taylor, before we let you go, we here at My Bad Poetry, we end each week with the words of a true poet. So, would you be willing to read for us another one of your poems that you are, in fact, very proud of?
Yeah, I will actually. Let's get something from resting face.
Nice.
Speaking of which,
Yeah, we were talking about ekphrasis, and there are actually a lot of ekphrastic poems in here,
Nice.
so it might be fun to.
are there any about Magritte?
I don't think I have one if I agree here. Okay, let's do this one. She's kind of fun and funny. So this is after the Mona Lisa by Leonardo da Vinci, but it also has an additional epigraph that reads, "A University of Cincinnati neurologist suggests that Mona Lisa faked the smile in the painting of her made famous by Leonardo da Vinci." From Barrett J. Brunsman in the Cincinnati Business Courier. A woman to woman with Mona. Being the muse isn't what it's all cracked up to be. Who can tell us to freeze and expect us to do it? Sitting still ain't no woman's work. And Leo bought it, didn't he? Just swiveled his brush where white, yellow, and brown made naked said sweetheart, flattened the brush's hairs on your lips like a thumb or tongue, an extension of the fingers that could no longer distinguish between canvas or shoulder. Thought that smile was his own special thing. But girl, I could call it from a mile away. That's that if you don't hurry the hell up look, that tip of the tongue bastard barely caught. That's that last joke wasn't really that funny, but I'll give you something, something. Trust me, I know it. Ain't nothing mysterious about annoyance, but now that they know, let 'em know. Took them 500 years to figure out this was all side-eye. Girl, please, I mean really, what is there to be afraid of?
Yes. Yes.
That is incredible.
Just all the male art critics throughout history going, "Oh, this enigmatic smile," and everybody
She
else
was
is going,
like-
"No, she's just kind of pissed, but like kind of holding it together."
It's like-
Yes, just like hurry the fuck up, actually.
This has been My Bad Poetry.
Now go write some of your own bad poetry.
But it has to be ekphrastic. It has to be a sonnet of some kind. We got to put some strictures on this.
After Renee Magritte's egg painting.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Send in your egg painting poems, please. Rhyme free doesn't matter.